Yo, what it is, you know what it is. It's your man King Musa. Welcome to the Hub Hero, the podcast dedicated to exploring the 7 dimensions of wellness and how they shape your life here at Stephen F. Austin State University. I'm your host, King Musa, and today we'll be diving into the enriched dimension of spiritual wellness. In this episode, we'll be exploring spiritual wellness and its role in finding purpose and meaning in life. I'll be speaking to Jen Wojtysiak, from the Nurses Christian Fellowship to discuss the importance of spiritual growth and how students can explore their personal beliefs and values. We'll also look at various activities that support spiritual development. Let's get started. Um,
Okay,
how do you define spiritual wellness and what does it encompass?
that's a great question. And I love that you're having these conversations. So, for me, spiritual wellness is paying attention to that aspect of who I am and actually creating space and having practices that really care for me in that way.
Wonderful, wonderful. Why is it important for students to explore their personal beliefs and values during their college years?
Well, as human beings, we are integrated beings. And so our physical intersects with our emotional and our
Hmm.
spiritual. And I always think about one of the things when I was a teenager, my mom would always ask me when I was having a rough day, she would ask me, have I eaten?
Yeah,
Because she really understood this fundamental understanding that I can't be well emotionally if I'm not well physically. And
right,
the same applies to our spiritual wellness as well. But it is hard to pay attention to our spiritual wellness.
right.
Um, some of the things that I think about is like when I haven't eaten, my body tells me like I'm hungry.
Yes,
Or if I am not doing well caring for the relationships in my life,
right.
my friend will text me and be like, hey, you haven't texted me in a while. What's up? Right. But there really isn't one of those external factors that
Right.
lets me know how I'm doing spiritually. And so oftentimes, if I'm not paying attention to my spiritual wellness until I'm like rock bottom and I'm trying to crawl out of the pit, do I know like, oh, something is off and I should pay attention to it?
Yes. I think from my personal experience, there are times where um the life on campus has been overwhelming, whether it's schools, whether it's friends, like the social side is going crazy. You have all type of people posting anything they want to, everything they want to say, and you're just sitting there taking the blows. You're sitting there, just experiencing life, but then being able to tap into, for me, it's Christianity, talk to God, go on a walk, things like that, and just trust that my life is like supporting Jesus. Like that was my relaxation to be like, dude, you're worried about nothing. Like none of this actually affects, what you got going on. Just keep on going. Um, so who can benefit from engaging in these activities that promote spiritual growth and why?
I really believe that all students can benefit from paying attention to their spiritual wellness. And I love what you said because it's so true that at college students and really all of us,
Right.
right, the pressures are overwhelming. And so you not only have your academic pressures, things like that, doing
Right.
well in class, but you have financial pressure or
Mm-hmm.
maybe relationship pressure. Things aren't well at home with your family. And all of that just kind of create this environment that unless you can have the support that you need
Yes.
in all areas of your life, physical, emotional, but spiritual as well. So, like you said, when you are able to have a conversation with God, you are just creating space to process those things. And there are things coming at you right now
Yes.
that um, 20 years ago, students didn't experience.
Mm-hmm.
And there is just divisiveness in our nation. There's decision fatigue. There's just so many things that, unless you're carving out that intentional space,
Right.
um, right, to let some of that pressure out, it can just be really hard to be a student these days.
Yes, ma'am. And I think one thing that's important with that is having that moral compass. It reminds you of who you are, it
Mhm.
reminds you of how you walk, it reminds you how you react to certain situations or yeah, certain situations. And so I feel like anybody who's kind of struggling with man, I want to react so bad, and I want to go
Mhm.
off, man. I want to let go of everything that kind of pulls them back in and tells them who they are and, where they fit and just their personal beliefs of who they're supposed to be.
Yep. I love that so much because I know it's true that when I am not paying attention um to my relationship with God, I
Hmm.
can't pay attention well to someone else. Like it's those things that make such a difference. And if I am not getting my identity from my relationship with God
Hmm.
and caring for that part of who I am, I'm going to get it somewhere else. And actually, our culture today tells us you can make it up.
Right.
And that just opens the door again, one for decision fatigue on who do I want to be?
Okay.
Unless you have that place where you can center yourself and actually realize, no, my identity is not mine to define. It
Right.
is mine to receive from God.
Great word, receive. We're not even gonna start preaching. When is a good time for students to start exploring spiritual wellness?
The minute you get on campus. So you walk on campus, it is a whole new ballpark. Like,
Hmm.
right, there are just so many wonderful opportunities to learn, to be in new relationships. It is also a wonderful time to really make new space,
Right.
to carve out what it's going to look like for you to explore, ask questions about God and about community. And to do it in community. So
Yes.
looking for those places on campus for people that are also doing the same thing can just be such a lifeline for you as you're trying to really think through what does it look like to have spiritual wellness in my life.
Yes, ma'am. And I can agree with that because I know a lot of incoming freshmen or just people that start the semester, you're looking to find those groups, you're looking to find those community, you're looking to find ways to get involved. But when you kind of start, the if you start in the beginning to find that spiritual wellness or that spiritual community of people who's going to believe, support, encourage, uplift you, walk with you, talk with you, and just spend time having fun with you, it keeps you out of those bad situations, that bad company and things like that. And it kind of keeps you true to who you are from the beginning. And I've seen a lot of students kind of lose that just
Mm.
because of the company and the people that they keep around them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Where can students find resources and support for spiritual wellness on campus?
A great place to start is just looking at what student organizations do you have on your campus
Hmm.
that are connected to spiritual wellness. And so typically there are a variety that are available. Some of
Right.
them are connected to a church denomination. And so if you're coming from a church home, you can look and see what resources are available. There's also a number of campus organizations that are interdenominational. And
Right.
so everyone is welcome. And some of them are related even focused around different academic pursuits or different areas of campus. And so
Yes.
there's typically a number of them, and it can seem risky oftentimes as someone new on campus to head into a new community.
Hmm.
But I would just really encourage you to take that risk and to find that community on campus that can become the place where you are learning how to thrive together in your spiritual wellness.
Yes, ma'am. Jen, I need you to be a shameless plug. You gotta go ahead and tell us what is the Nursing Christian Ministry and how can somebody get engaged with that?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked. So, I work with an organization on campus called Nurses Christian Fellowship, and we recognize that nurses and those in healthcare actually have particular spiritual wellness needs.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, students in healthcare are having a unique experience on campus where you're spending some time in class, but you're in clinicals, you're actually with patients, sometimes walking through the hardest thing they have ever gone through.
Right.
And also, a number of our students are there when someone passes away. And that is not a typical college student experience.
Experience.
And so we want to provide resources, one, for you and your spiritual wellness.
Hmm.
How can you grieve well? How can you combat compassion fatigue? How can you develop spiritual resilience so that the things that you're experiencing, you can, I love how you said that, you can take them to God. on a walk, and he can come alongside you and support you in that. And you're also processing with other students who are going through the same thing. They have the
Right.
same schedule as you, they're in clinicals with you. But then we also do recognize like offering your patients a
Right.
spiritual wellness and care is important as well. And so a lot of our material helps not only you, but equips you for you to walk through different experiences with your patients and how do you care for them emotionally, physically, spiritually, as someone in healthcare.
That's wonderful. So how would a student who's in the nursing program find the Nursing Christian Ministry? Who can they contact or reach out to their Instagram, website, things like that?
Yeah, great question. So two of our faculty advisors on campus are Kathy Barr and Megan Nichols. And so you could connect with them. You may have even had them in class or currently in a class, and they can connect you with the group. You can also find on Instagram. We have an Instagram for the group as well. And there
Yes,
they'll have
ma'am.
listed when they meet, how often, that type of thing. So you can join them. You can always DM the Instagram account and ask questions as well.
That's beautiful. My final question is, how can students engage in practices and activities to foster spiritual growth and a sense of purpose?
My advice, including to myself, is
Mhm.
to start small. And if this is something you haven't done in a while, thinking, okay, every day I'm going to spend 90 minutes with God is probably not realistic. And so, whether or not it's a breath prayer, where it's something
Right.
you can breathe in and breathe out as you're entering classroom buildings, my absolute personal favorite is reading a psalm before bed.
Okay.
You're headed to bed, you have your Bible next to you, you read a psalm, and you go to sleep.
Yes, ma'am.
Getting plugged into a campus, a community on campus that is focused on spiritual wellness, taking another risk and finding a church in town where you feel comfortable worshiping. But start small, but be intentional and
Right.
really determine like what are the rhythms that fit best with me that I am going to commit to.
Absolutely. And for me, most people know me as like the speaker guy or the friendly dude, the Christian dude, things like that. And it's a little hard to be in the limelight to kind of know everybody, wave at everybody, things like that. But some things that I had to put in place was I'm not stepping out that door until I read my verse of the day or kind of go through a quick little devotional, just because I'd rather God tell me what the day is going to be and how to, handle the day than just go out there and have to react to the day. So it puts me ahead of what's going on. But then still finding that time in the middle of the day to listen to a devotion or listen to a podcast that, is just a prayer podcast or something that goes to a quick little Bible verse or something that kind of uplifts you. Listen to music, meditate, things like that, read a book, are a couple of things that I love to do. And then at the end of the night, it's either finding that group of people who are trying to end their night in good terms or whatever, or just one of my homeboys, Caleb, one of my best friends, him and I would read a Proverbs at the end of the night and kind of
Mhm.
just discuss and talk about that. So there's different implications that you get to implement in your day that might uplift a person either before they start their day, in the middle of the day, or before they end their day. So I like that advice of adding a song.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that you like starting your day with a quick devotional. 'Cause there are
Yes,
so many
ma'am.
good ones out there that you can get texted to your phone that take 5 minutes.
Right.
But it just makes all the difference in the rest of your day.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have any more advice for students for building their spiritual wellness or getting engaged with spiritual groups or Christian groups on campus?
One of the things that can make it easier, and you already talked about this, is when you did something with someone,
Right.
your roommate, and did something together at the end of the day and read and discussed the Proverbs. Doing it in community makes it easier, right? If you're going to go check out a student group, bring a friend. If you're going to go
Right.
check the church, bring a friend. If you're going to commit to a practice, invite someone to do it with you and then share how it's going and how God is meeting you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jen, for sharing your insight on spiritual wellness and how students can find purpose and meaning in their lives. That wraps up today's episode of the Hub Hero. Remember, spiritual wellness is about more than just a belief system. It's about finding purpose and meaning in your life. Don't hesitate to explore the resources available to you here at SFA. Subscribe to our podcast for more insight for various dimensions of wellness and your weekly dose of wellness guides, and stay engaged with the SFA's community. Connect with us on social media and share your experience and thoughts. Until next time, keep searching for your true self and stay connected.